Rene, welcome to Blind Android Users Podcast.
Thank you so much, Warren. Happy to be here and excited.
Welcome to the podcast.
All right. So, Rene, let's get caught up to Lazarillo. For people who don't know what Lazarillo is, let's give us a little quick overview of the app, shall we?
Sure. Lazarillo is an app, but also is a startup. We started in 2016. And the main focus of the app is to provide different tools for the end user to have better access to information and also navigation. So the app itself is a free mobile app, works both on Android and iOS. So all Android users can use it freely. And so it provides what we call exploration functionality that it will announce to you information as you walk or if you are in a car. And it will tell you about your surroundings. You can actually customize that experience, filter out the categories you want. But also you can search locations by buttons of categories or also by text and voice. And then you can do routes to those locations or even call an Uber if Uber works in that city. You can do all that. And then that is what we call the navigation functionalities. But then we also have like a section for news that we are working hard today because it's a way for institutions like local government or private companies to send information about new updates of way they are offering their services, new channels for communications and stuff. And so then it opens up actually a lot of possibilities that I would like to tell you more in a bit. But the app itself is the app, but then we have a platform that we can enhance cities and we can enhance locations. And so that's how what is Lazarillo? Yeah.
So that's the quick overview of Lazarillo app for those who haven't had any experience with Lazarillo app. It's a great app, navigation app, and it's interesting though that you're kind of bringing the news feature to the app now. So it's going to be like an app that you can not only just navigate with, but if you're not navigating and maybe it's like a long drive or maybe on a long train route or whatever, one can actually go ahead and listen to the news or, read the news, so to speak. And so it's really a great app, kind of bringing in a few more other things that we could find use for. So we're excited to hear that Lazarillo is having such a feature. And as a matter of fact, I think I saw an update to it. Was that yesterday or the day before? Either was yesterday or the day before. There was an update to it. I didn't read the what's new section, but I just went ahead and updated it.
Yeah.
So besides that, Rene, so there's any more interesting stuff coming up that we need to talk about now, or we want to talk about that later on as the program progresses? Yeah.
Well, maybe I can give a little bit of an insight of
a little
what
teaser.
I meant. Yeah, sure.
Like a little teaser.
Sure. So what I mentioned before was that the app already works in many cities. As Austin tested it out in Mumbai, in India, right? It has like a base functionality, but then we have a platform that the platform means that we are developing options so that companies can join and institutions can join. So that means that, for example, we have hospitals within the app that if you want to have like an appointment with that hospital, you can do it by yourself through the app. And then when you need to reach your appointment, the app also provides you navigation within the hospital. So you can do it by yourself and then be more effective to reach your destination. And so that is one example. We have a lot of examples of different institutions like universities, museums and shopping centers right now. We're working with retail. And so we're working in a lot of parallel projects that hopefully will start soon, like globally. Like we were doing some stuff in the United States, and then also we're launching like a new starter plan for companies to make it easy to join. But yeah, like we can talk about that later on.
Well,
I don't want to just talk by myself.
Yeah. So anyway, I kind of understand what's going on here. So for instance, like my daughters should be going to college in the fall. So for instance, say, hey, I make an appointment to go talk to, whatever admissions or registration.
Yeah.
So I could use something like that. She could be driving, but then when we get on there, I'm going to say, hey, girl, I'm going to pull this thing out and I'm going to find where that registrar is hiding his knucklehead or her knucklehead out at. So I see the usefulness of this as a blind person. So you schedule your appointment at the hospital and then you navigate, either take a train or whatever public transportation mode, whatever it is that you use. Once you get there, then you are able to try to find your way where that particular doctor is. Austin, any comments about that?
Now, that is fantastic update on the app. Another question I had is, from where is the app getting the GPS information? Because yesterday I was doing the recording of using the app in the local train, and the app was like dead accurate. It told me the train station is at the left, and at that same point, the train halted at that station. So, where is it getting this information from?
Great question. Thank you. So we actually depends on the country and the city. We have users that sometimes they tell us, hey, like in my city, like the app doesn't provide me information. So we actually connect with a lot of data sources, from Google to OpenStreetMap, Foursquare, and other two databases more that we can either connect or use as a main source depending on the city. So for example, in India, OpenStreetMap works quite well because there's a good community there in many cities, not every city. We actually are really aware of some cities that we need to hopefully reach out to the local government for transportation, like the transportation department, to get that data out, to add more stations or more stops that some users have told us that they're missing. But that's possible, right? And then, for example, in the United States, most cities, like a good data source is Google Maps. And we're actually like now working with that as one of the main sources. But yeah, like as I said, like also Google Maps sometimes doesn't have all the information as a data source, and we mix it up to have entrances of a subway, for example, and then we know that we can extract that from other data sources, and then we mix it up, and the end user might not be aware of what data source we're using. But yeah,
that's really
so
neat.
Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, having like there's no one source that is fully accurate of all the world, and so that's the challenge. And then we have our own platform to enhance cities. I mean, enhance locations also, because as you said, like there's a stop, right? But then the stop, if you want to imagine, you will go out, and then the app will provide you the information of the different exits or where's the toilet in that stop, right? That would be great. To do that, we have this platform that we can transfer one GPS point to a whole venue, and then we are thinking this as a tool to government and for companies too, and then that's how we also generate revenue. And yeah, in a way, that's how it works. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really good. To be honest, I think this is a great tool, and most especially when you work with the local community on the ground there. And of course, there are little nooks and corners that people didn't know about. Then they, let you know about these things. And I think it only helps to make a mapping or, GPS app, better and better. And I'm really excited. And I think the part that really excites me when I was listening to Austin's demonstration is, all those POIs that is telling him, it's this uh, X meters away to the left, in front, or behind him, and things like that. I've been wanting to go out for quite a while now, but for some reason we keep having this snowfall after another. So I've kind of been cooped up in the house like a little chicken in the springtime or something. you know. But of course, I'm looking forward to be able to go out there again and play with these GPS apps. And so really, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm in a little town, but I like to be able to just explore and see where I'm going and things like that. And so I'm excited with the new features that we have with Lazarillo.
Yeah, cool. And I mean, I myself, I'm a lot right now back home due to the pandemic, so I think we're all quite in the same position that we need to stay home.
Yeah.
And so that's where like the news feature come in, and like maybe I can talk a little bit about that. But the main value of that is that you can use the app and connect with like what you need. Like the app itself is providing like navigation functionality so that you can connect with the information you need as you move. But then if you're home, it would be nice to have information about the events, like online events, like people, like institutions are doing that you might be interested on participating, or like new ways of buying online that would be more like user friendly and things like that. So we're actually like providing a lot of more effort on also that functionality too, because it's something that most of us are like back home, right? So makes sense.
That is great. That is really great. I like the sound of that. The whole thing, because we're becoming more and more virtual in every aspect of our lives, and I think that these tools are only going to help augment the usability of that virtual world. Now, Austin, you had some questions for Rene, didn't you? You and I were talking a little while ago, and you had some questions that you would like to ask Rene. So I think let's utilize this moment for you to ask your question. Unless, of course, if you've answered your question, then we don't have a need to talk about those.
Yeah, I have at least two questions. So one problem that happens is when you navigate to, let's say, when you navigate to a point of your favorite that you have added in your favorite section, and you use Google Maps. I have never used Waze, so I don't know how Waze will work. But if you use Google Maps, sometimes what happens is Google Maps gives you direction, and at the same time, Lazarillo announces the point of interest that you're passing some street or something. So you cannot understand who is saying what, because
That's
I think
right. Yeah.
so can we have a feature which can give you like speech priority? So either you can say that Google Maps will get higher priority or the app will get higher priority. Also, another feature could be added if users can add their own GPS apps. Let's say somebody is not using Google Maps or Waze. Can some other GPS be added?
Sure. So you can actually do the route with Lazarillo, like without leaving the app. So currently it's for walking routes. So, but during this year, actually, this was a project of last year, but due to COVID, we need to change priorities. But since we're better right now, this is something that we will launch this year. But currently, if you want to do a walking route, you can select Lazarillo or Google Maps, or if you are I think in iOS, you can also use Apple Maps. But eventually, I would suggest using Lazarillo itself, because then you can control. It opens up a view within the app. So in the same app, you have these routing directions, and also you can manage the exploration within the same view. In the bottom down, you can actually stop the exploration or filter out the categories you want for that route, and then like update those quite easily. At the same time, you are getting directions, and then we can control like the announcement so it doesn't crash. And so that's the feature you actually were looking for, but that's for walking. And then if you want to use, let's say, for public transportation, we're actually going to launch that like to work widely across many cities during this year. But then also when we collaborated with cities, we can add that specific functionality too. So then we connect not only the bus stops, but also the subway. And then for going by car, yeah, for now we don't have so many plans on like adding like a go by car functionality, but maybe we could add a mode on car. Then you would use Waze, right? Like for car, if you're in a car,
Google
and
Maps,
then
yeah.
or Google Maps, yeah. And then that will, in a way, when you open up another app, it's difficult to know what the other apps are doing. So actually, it's not possible because of privacy. But I think, like in a way, what could be explored for when you're in a car and you're also doing a route in a car. So, for example, you want to go with some friends to, or with your family, like to, and you set the route within the app, and then you open up the Waze, and then but you also want to hear out like the exploration. Maybe there could be like a way to enhance that. But for now, walking it already has that, like the synchronization of messages if you use Lazarillo, right? And we suggest you use it. And then for public transportation, it's something that we will release hopefully before before the middle of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally understand what you are saying, and I also understand what Austin is talking about. So in other words, I think what he would like to see probably maybe we could have an option of saying, hey, if I'm navigating by, maybe if I'm doing something in the car, the feature is coming, we could choose to, hey, don't say, POIs, points of interest, you toggle those off in the settings when I'm navigating by this, don't announce this. But, the whole point of Lazarillo is for the pedestrian. I think that's its strongest focus. And I think most of us, most especially, because if I'm driving or if I'm in the car with someone, I would, I use Google Maps for navigating. But if I'm walking, now this is where an app like Lazarillo comes in, because Google Maps doesn't give you much info, but this one does. So I see where you guys are headed for. And like you said, if you're doing a navigation, a pedestrian mode, you can actually just use Lazarillo instead of employing, say, hey, Google Maps or some other maps or some Waze or something like that. So it all totally makes sense.
Yeah, and maybe to the point of Austin, to add like other methods of transportation. For example, we currently connect with Uber, like for taxi, but then Uber doesn't work everywhere. And like then in Southeast Asia, we know that there's Grab and then other platforms. We actually are looking to integrate with those. Sometimes like the integration with those platforms are, you could always open the app, like these apps, they have like a way to open it up and set things up, but then the experience is not so good. So we were looking to maybe integrate deeply. Those are things that we wanted to do last year, but COVID opened up other things that had more priority. I said. But in a way, if everything goes as planned, we will have more developers this year. And then if we have more developers this year, we can do a lot of stuff. So that's going to be cool. Yeah.
Well, you're not the only ones, Rene, because everybody now, it's COVID, and everybody's kind of like trim down, on, number of people working on things. And to be honest, some companies, you can't even call them anymore because, we've cut back because of this and that. So COVID has just affected us in several ways, and many different aspects and ways that things are not normal. It'll take a little while to get back to what we used to know, the normal that we used to know. So
yeah,
I'm excited seeing what's going on, regardless of all of that. You guys are doing your best to do what you know best. And I'm looking forward to the new improvements and the features. As long as they are forthcoming, we're all going to be happy about it.
Yeah. Like, I like, just to be positive on. I mean, it's kind of difficult to be positive on COVID, but in a way, we explore other ways to use the app. Like, for example, maybe I can give an example so people know about this. So actually, one of the things that maybe you are struggling today is like having like most of websites are not accessible. So if like you want to buy something online, like groceries or something for your home, like from a retail, sometimes that could be difficult, depending on the country, right, and depending on each website, and so we actually developed like different models so that and we're trying with some retails. So we're trying with a company similar to Home Depot, but it's not Home Depot. That works in Latin America, and then they actually like connect with the app, and the experience like this. So they actually test it out in a Cyber Day, and so they send through the newsfeed like a Cyber Day new channel for communication within the app with Lazarillo, and then on that news you can. The ability of the news that we have is that you can add multiple sections of information and then additional buttons so that the user can choose what to use. And then they actually integrate like a video calling assistant. And so through the app, like through Lazarillo, you could have like you can have right now actually it's working, but it's working in Chile. So hopefully they're going to expand it to other countries. But but for that we need companies to do it, right? Yeah. But in this case, people were like calling, and then they could talk with an agent from the company. The company agent told them about, hey, like, what do you need to buy? And so the end user will quote or like ask for, I'm looking for a new fridge for my home. Okay, great. So we actually are in Cyber Day, so you have all these discounts, like what size of the fridge, and then sometimes it's difficult to say the size, and like they could even use the camera to point out the space, and so the agent would have that information, and then like find the suitable fridge for the end user, provide them quote, describe how it actually looks, all the characteristics, and then provide them payment options, and then the fridge goes directly to their home, for example. So they use the app, like the Lazarillo app, back home. But to buy something online, but with a different sort of method. In this case, that company, like the website, was not so accessible. So actually, it was impossible before for them to buy directly, and going to the store was not also a possibility. So now, yeah, it opened up like additional opportunities, I said.
I think that's really neat, Rene. That's a beautiful thing because, it's not everybody that we keep going back and forth about this. Not every one of us has, help readily available. So I think that whole idea of having to, interact with someone directly from within the company and then, letting them know what you need and you tell them what you need and all of that. I think that's a beautiful thing. So I'm really happy hearing all those things. But right now, that is only in Chile, and it hasn't reached our area yet. But I think it's gonna, come in the by and by. And so we're looking forward to such a feature. So, like you said, though, I think there are a lot of things coming down the pipe when it comes to what you guys are doing with Lazarillo. Hey, I got the name right this time, didn't I?
You got it perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Lazarillo. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a great app. It is free.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good for, people that can't afford. As you got people in other countries like India and, so forth, and South America that can't afford,
Exactly.
apps that were like $100, like Nearby Explorer when it was available in $100, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's
Yeah.
a great app.
Yeah, and maybe I can add something like this actually, like, we're rolling out. So there's a starter plan for companies that we just created, and this starter plan for companies is actually really low cost. It's around, so it goes from $20 to $50 depending of the discount they might get, because we're rolling out discounts in different countries so that this can be pushed, right? Because currently, like, we created like a good solution, I might say, in which that a local company can connect with the local community of Lazarillo and like provide business in an accessible way. And so that could be from a cleaning service company that is providing cleaning services for your home stuff, and then you might want to have that or not, but at least you have the option, and if you want to, you can do that in an accessible format. So that is actually something that we are rolling out, yeah, right now, yeah.
Now I had one small question. If I went to settings yesterday in the app, and it said I had 0 Chilean pesos in balance.
Well, you don't have money.
If I had the balance, what it would be used for?
Okay, thank you for that question, because that actually is a bug. Sorry about that, but that it would be a bug. So yeah, let me tell you about that. So Lazarillo is actually an app that, as I said, like, we enhance with the platform. So we actually have a hidden functionality that can be used, for example, for the workforce. I mean, like, for employees, or even like a company can incorporate, and then it can actually be used to get like connected with some companies that are providing like agents to help you out, and in a way, like if you have a problem with a computer software that is not accessible, your company can get you that service. And then there's other companies that have agents that can support you, like have a pair of eyes to check the information that you're missing out or that is not accessible for the platform. So we rolled that in a way to providing like minutes, so like a prepay. But we did like some tests, and so in those tests, I think we have that bug that we got like people having like this sort of 0 pesos Chilean pesos, right? Yeah, no, that's for now is a bug. Maybe in the future will be a feature, but then we were exploring, and sorry about that. But yeah, I mean. We actually had users that have asked us if like this can be a wallet, but was like, no, but good idea. I don't know.
I see. So the whole idea is like, so if you have some money in there and then, you have some service, instead of going to say, hey, can I pay you by PayPal or Venmo or some other stuff like that, you could easily just pay from within the Lazarillo app.
When you're taking an Uber with the app navigation, you could pay for Uber using the wallet.
Maybe use it for Uber or something like that. I think that would be a good idea too.
I mean, eventually, it's like you could have services within the app that you could pay for, but instead of paying each one of them, like you could charge the money and then automatically pay as according to your credits that you have. But I mean, it's an exploration idea. Like we were exploring stuff, and then we got that bug in it that we thought it was fixed, And thank you, Austin, because now I will talk with my developers to tell them it's not fixed.
Okay.
So why is appearing some phones? And like, but yeah, like
okay.
it's okay.
So that experiment, okay, until it's there, then we need to take it away. Then I see what you mean. Well, good, Austin, for bringing that to the forefront. As the website address and also the email, if should someone want to contact you, I know people could also contact you via the Play Store page or the iOS page, app page. But yeah, go ahead and give us that info.
Sure. So the website is lazarillo.app. If you want to find us on Google Play, on App Store, you just need to tap in Lazarillo app, and we will appear. We work globally in every country. And then if you ever had any issue and any sort of problem and you need help, or if actually you need more information, you can contact us as hello@lazarillo.app, and we will answer you as soon as possible. And then, and for any business that is out there, like if they want to know more about how they can join this great community, they can go to lazarillo.app, and there is a tab of businesses, and you can contact us there, and you can join and create a lot of great customer experience. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rene. As always, you're nice sport and we appreciate you coming on. And by the way, if you go to our webpage, blindandroidusers.com, in our friends section, we do have the guys from Lazarillo as one of our friends. So if you forget all of this, you go to our website, you can also navigate to the Lazarillo webpage from our page as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Great weekend. Thank you to all our listeners. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rene, for coming on. It is very much appreciated. We definitely would love to have you back, and we enjoyed it. So if you have, you want to come back, reach back out to us.